Think about a time someone lied to you. Maybe it was a small white lie, a casual deflection. Or perhaps it was a devastating betrayal, a deception that shattered your trust, cost you money, or even years of your life. The truth is, we are all lied to, far more often than we realize. From a partner's infidelity to a colleague's false promises, or even a child's innocent fib, deception is woven into the fabric of human interaction. And for most of us, spotting a lie feels like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands. It's frustrating, it's disempowering, and it leaves us vulnerable. But what if there was a way to peel back the layers, to understand the subtle signals that betray falsehood? What if you could develop an intuition, backed by science, to detect when someone isn't being entirely truthful? This isn't about turning you into a human lie detector, but about arming you with knowledge that can protect you, deepen your understanding of others, and ultimately, empower you to navigate your world with greater confidence and clarity. Our natural inclination is to believe what we're told. It's a fundamental part of social trust, and it's why deception can be so insidious. On average, most people are only slightly better than chance at detecting lies, hovering around 54% accuracy. That's barely better than flipping a coin. And part of the problem is that we've been fed a lot of myths about how liars behave. You know the ones: they won't look you in the eye, they fidget constantly, or they always sweat and stammer. These are the Pinocchio effects, the exaggerated, almost cartoonish tells we expect to see. But here's the uncomfortable truth: skilled liars often overcompensate by maintaining intense eye contact or remaining unnaturally still. They know the stereotypes, and they play against them. The research, particularly from scholars like Dr. Bella DiPaolo, has consistently shown that these popular beliefs are largely unfounded. Focusing on them will actually make you worse at lie detection, as you'll be looking for signs that aren't there, or misinterpreting genuine nervousness as deceit. So, before we dive into what truly works, we need to clear our minds of these misconceptions. A liar isn't a twitching, shifty-eyed villain from a movie. They're often just a regular person trying to manage a difficult situation, and their tells are far more subtle. Here's where the science gets truly fascinating. Lying is hard work. Think about it: when you tell the truth, you're simply recalling facts and events. Your brain accesses existing memories. But when you lie, you're not only suppressing the truth, you're also creating a plausible alternative narrative, remembering that alternative, and then constantly monitoring your audience's reaction to ensure it's believable. This requires immense cognitive effort, placing a significant demand on your working memory. Psychologists refer to this as cognitive load. The brain has a limited capacity, and when it's overloaded, small, involuntary slips begin to occur. Dr. Paul Ekman, a pioneer in the study of emotions and deception, along with others, has shown that this increased cognitive load can manifest in subtle ways. For instance, liars often take longer to respond to questions, or their responses might be shorter and less detailed because their brain is too busy managing the lie to elaborate. They might also use more filler words like or ah as their brain struggles to formulate coherent, deceptive sentences. This isn't about specific tells but about the struggle to maintain the facade. You're not looking for a specific behavior, but for signs of mental strain. This is also where the Othello error comes into play. A truthful person might also show signs of stress, like nervousness or anxiety, when accused of lying, simply because they're being interrogated. It's crucial to understand that stress alone isn't proof of deception. It's the source of the stress that matters. The key is to look for behaviors that indicate a cognitive struggle to maintain a consistent, convincing narrative, rather than just general anxiety. Beyond the sheer mental effort, the very words a person chooses can be highly revealing. When someone is fabricating a story, their language often changes in subtle, yet detectable ways. One common pattern is the use of distancing language. Liars tend to use fewer first-person pronouns like I or me and more third-person pronouns or vague collective terms. It's as if they're subconsciously trying to distance themselves from the lie. Instead of saying, I went to the store, they might say, we went to the store, or the decision was made to go to the store. Research by Dr. James Pennybaker on linguistic analysis has shown consistent patterns in deceptive narratives. Another significant verbal cue is a lack of specific detail. Truthful stories are rich with sensory information, names, places, and specific sequences of events because they are being recalled from memory. Liars, however, often keep their narratives vague in general. They might use broad statements like I was busy instead of I was at the library studying for my exam. Providing too much detail risks contradiction later, so they err on the side of brevity. They might also repeat questions before answering them, buying their brain extra time to construct the lie. You might also notice an increase in speech errors, stumbles, or hesitations, or a shift in their typical speaking rhythm. Pay attention to sudden changes in tone, pitch, or speaking rate, not as definitive tells, but as indicators that something unusual is happening beneath the surface. It's not just what they say, but how they say it, and what they don't say. Now, let's move beyond the myths and into the subtle nonverbal cues that are far more reliable than the cliché fidgeting. Remember, a liar's primary goal is to appear credible, so they will often try to control their overt body language. What you're looking for are inconsistencies and leakage. One key area is facial expressions, specifically micro-expressions, fleeting expressions of emotion that last for only a fraction of a second, often betraying a person's true feelings before they can consciously mask them. Dr. Paul Ekman's extensive research identified these universal micro-expressions for emotions like fear, anger, disgust, sadness, joy, and surprise. While incredibly difficult to spot without training, an unexpected, brief flash of an emotion that contradicts what someone is saying can be a powerful indicator. Another tell involves asymmetrical expressions. A genuine smile involves the muscles around the eyes, crow's feet, whereas a fake smile often only involves the mouth. Beyond the face, look for illustrators, natural hand gestures that accompany speech. Truthful people use these naturally to emphasize points. Liars, under cognitive load, often suppress them or use them awkwardly. They might also exhibit adapters, self-touching behaviors like rubbing their neck or touching their face, not necessarily because they're lying, but because they're under stress, which, combined with other cues, could be significant. Another subtle cue is blocking behavior, where someone might physically put something between themselves and you, or subtly turn their body away, creating a psychological barrier. Pay attention to changes in breathing patterns, swallowing, or an increase in blink rate. These are physiological responses to stress, and while not direct proof of a lie, they are data points that, when observed in clusters, can point towards deceit. So, how do you put this knowledge into practice? It's not about playing gotcha. It's about strategic observation and asking the right kinds of questions. First, establish a baseline. How does this person typically behave when they're relaxed and truthful? What's their normal eye contact, gesture use, and speaking style? This baseline is crucial because deception cues are often deviations from that norm. Once you suspect something, don't accuse. Instead, ask open-ended questions that encourage elaboration. For example, instead of "did you do it," try "walk me through what happened from your perspective." This forces a liar to generate more detail, increasing their cognitive load and the chances of a slip. Ask unanticipated questions, questions a liar wouldn't have prepared for. If someone tells you they were at the grocery store, ask, "What was the last item you put in your cart?" or "What did the cashier say to you?" These unexpected details are harder to fabricate on the spot. Experts like Dr. Aldert Fry, known for his work on strategic interviewing, emphasize this approach. Pay close attention to inconsistencies in their story over time. A truthful narrative remains consistent, a fabricated one often changes with each retelling. You're looking for clusters of cues, not just one sign, but several verbal and nonverbal indicators that align. No single cue is a definitive lie detector. It's the confluence of multiple signals, combined with a deviation from their baseline, and the pressure of specific questioning, that offers the strongest indicators of deception. This approach requires patience, keen observation, and a willingness to listen actively. You now possess a deeper understanding of the psychology of deception, a skill far more valuable than you might initially realize. This isn't about becoming cynical or distrustful of everyone around you. Instead, it's about developing a more nuanced, discerning eye for human behavior. It's about protecting yourself from manipulation, making more informed decisions, and fostering genuine trust where it truly exists. When you can better identify the signs of dishonesty, you gain the power to choose who you invest your time, energy, and emotions in. You become a better judge of character, not by intuition alone, but by a combination of observation, knowledge, and critical thinking. This awareness allows you to navigate complex social landscapes with greater confidence, building stronger, more authentic relationships based on truth. It's a tool for self-preservation and for fostering deeper, more meaningful connections. If you found this journey into the human mind as fascinating as I did, and you want to continue unlocking the secrets of psychology to live a more informed and empowered life, then don't let this be your last stop. Subscribe to our channel right now. We regularly dive into topics that challenge your perceptions, expand your understanding, and equip you with practical insights to thrive. Hit that subscribe button and join our community of curious minds. Your journey to deeper understanding has just begun.